ye me secondary school na papa kakra woni nse bo timi to me SSS no to ka ma me no kra no de oh Hyundai for die na nkrofo boga for to mo yiri no Debbie oh make 2001 asemu oh now there was this Hyundai car na fe na bakrum ha make I ni din no sa car no minimum nuanom nyina na ebi driving at that time up to now me when a 22-year-old Philly says so Jivia senior men nara. A two cost kame. Now all brabo mubo or TikTok, I won't go TikTok or Monte who be yet to me a TikTok grandmother, or be on him send me honamity. Hey, when you be one we are say we are son sending the pub bonini because we here we age. Ni baby abrabon wo bodu no hwe san kwala we abranti ya chi ni dancing ni o kire wo TikTok o oni ni baby mama bi ababa won so ya chi no girl bi ya so no na wo ese wani yetimi park sika na kwa na na wo kronfo so a wotimi wo ye exhibition of some ye kronfo
ye nche no nti na adwen ne se wo ye genuine
na se ohu ye ka so mu nko school so a na omo dwin so omo ye me omo ye wo me ya sure say mantie ni bi nsusu ye bi but omo akọ school enti omo de nyansa to because ka brantie hwe so ko school enya some education obehu say me ma me display sika eye sebi jimie
cars ya wa park wo agona so adru ya mo hwe ene nam 1.
I mean how do you do that? And my point is I don't even have a problem say
$1.8 million.
Yes, wakoto. Oh, omo de betu say oh wa cyber truck me you know. I'm saying where Bentley and Tesla.
Tesla. That the first two no na say na Tesla. And Brabus, my Brabus back up. And my name said they want me do no say Bugatti you said when they are packing.
Obi only 30 years. My problem with them is udi meaning senka we ask me how yet we are kronfo crown person obi ehu so ye kronfo. Abrabo ayebe we yes come across ya na wudi sie umpeso maami umpeso papa hu umpeso abusuafo hu but when this generation of scammers ne de minim say jimie kata hu say ye den yo say me de ba to social media say me yes scammer say ye becho enti kire na ya kire omo no kure ni nyame anim they deserve say ye becho because say mo jimi oh yes. Because Jimmy Fonkwa na ya kronfo de beto abontin se me ya kronfo
na ni aba ne ho
ye nim se kronfo ye scammers abusuam bi wo ha wo fa bi wo ha wo se o ma me ntimi kasa ni aba ma ni hu ni ye e de adwuma kra na o ye
osifie kwa na o de
ba wo se o be fia o be ma excuse se wo wi asem ha nyinara obe chire mu achire bi say he will do everything to make sure say the corona oye no obe cover if science o money education tinka say sika we wunya ye de investment
be a company
because community the investment nka that would have covered it and ka be ye den say nkrofo no kra bi tresi and so sabi o wajimi a wonim nyansa nti wa hu ne wa ya kire wo and I can bet them America for months so mu just say bia omo syndicate no there's somebody higher omo hwehwe no no omo no why plea bargaining to send a young lady ni ye no na nya sa dia I can bet you say he's going in for the next 20-30 years hash puppy Nigeria ni asagro akwa ni dem
and now can o imagine because unya adwuma na wo to private jets
me ben so anu ye na alatani no at least when you there we no mo to aso anko mo so beye me ban ma kan die awie na afi ma ba fie ma me wa woni sa wo ba ni wie secondary school wan pass yi wan ko university ana oni adwuma bi wa mfa na to trade mu pe bibi ma wo ba ne nyeye na wo ba be ma live this life wo musa na question ma me nka enkomu bi nchiro
now they land there
na me land some can me see me ko university no o man etoka emu ho baby obi to ka che
obi hwan
ntimi nchichi
hey amawaji weni university no obi to ka che o
na ma wie school me ye dem de kai akofie Be ye de ko chire man mu say, wo kono me ma wo ka we, wo ba no de ka we. You craze. Bra me ton ka ni di.
Wo fa apply am.
Oh, just a me fa nko fie. That is the sort of home I came from. What talk now in your capacity as what? What did you do for him? What is it? How dare you? I'm a ton dean, I'm the corporate treasury bills to toy. And check in a leaky. You're bomb reported to one. Be at a car, mamma. Assembly. Assembly, bra. And who chopper? And who shoe?
Obi atoka acho.
We are the man. Then now your man. That was the
man
question. Man, try me, mamma, Tias, may her soul rest in peace. Obi, I may rest you. Bra, belt to cry your tree, me so. Me, mamma, Nanka, Sam, betting at the Akakadro, I shall be a manager, my man, here. And send a me chilemu, and no crana and twasum. Ye gna me so treasure bill chrono, me ko ye. Wouldn't you say, mamma, the year? Many way a charity.
Wow.
Your man, 31st, the quota, sorry. This is oh, son a parent. Son me say makuma yeah. But ne, madam papasi for that decision he took. Because it directed me in a certain way. And kababi a me kono ne. But in the parents, wo ba akofa we yaba. Wo hwe no. Nyame ahira ne san, o hira ne san.
Ama.
What the den o ye nkra na nyame hia. Na na ye de na ekwa America you. And then I didn't equate American and Yabra at 28. Asa. No could be what I say a catcher. You will be a mamma, Brabobio was win himself up a laying quays where you went.
Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354, also 0531 600 360, and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
The festive season is here again, and your most preferred estate partner is giving you 25% discount on land sale. Yes, for our Bronya Asase promo, Estate Masters is offering this massive discount for outright purchases. This includes free indenture, free site plan, and a free site visit. So what are you waiting for? Rush now and secure a plot of land while it is still hot. Reach out to us using the numbers below or visit our website at www.estatemastersgh.com. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
In a world where everything is connected, your business's security is only as strong as its weakest link. The growing threat of cybercrime has become an unescapable reality. In 2025 alone, the projected cost of cybercrime is expected to grow to $10 trillion globally, with small-medium businesses disproportionately targeted. Cyber threats have become increasingly sophisticated, widespread, and invisible, placing unequipped organizations at risk of massive damages in a matter of seconds. Meet Virtual InfoSec Africa, Ghana's Tier 1 certified managed security service provider. We don't just monitor threats, we predict, prevent, and respond 24/7. At Virtual InfoSec Africa, we deliver bold and cost-effective cybersecurity solutions tailored to your organization's size and complexity. Whether you're a startup or a national institution, our services scale with your needs. We offer 24/7 SOC monitoring, early warning threat intelligence, managed detection and response, digital forensics and incident response, and predictive analysis and threat hunting. From endpoint protection to dark web forensics, we secure every layer of your digital ecosystem. Why wait for a breach to act? Join the ranks of high institutions who trust Virtual InfoSec Africa to secure their future. Start your 3-month free trial of our early warning threat intelligence platform today. For more inquiries, contact 055-689-2086 or visit our website at www.virtualinfosecafrica.com.
This Christmas, Cartus Agri Limited is bringing you freshness, flavor, and festive joy straight to your home and office. Right here in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi. Cartus Agri, your #1 poultry plug. Fresh birds, sweet eggs, delivered with love. Get ready for our juicy Midofopa package. You get 1 broiler, 1 layer, 2 crates of eggs, plus our special chicken spices, all for only 450 Ghana cedis. Midofopa, sweet value for you. Or go big with our Coco Bolobo package. That is 2 broilers, 2 layers, 2 crates of eggs, and chicken spices, just for 800 Ghana cedis. A Coco Bolobo. More chicken, more joy. And for families and corporate bodies ready to feast, try our Odon Sada package. 3 broilers, 3 layers, 3 crates of eggs, plus spices for only 1,200 Ghana cedis. Order now, enjoy more. And the best part is, corporate orders come with free delivery. Terms and conditions apply. Call us now. 0558 376127 or 0241 674268 or 020-331-5557. This Christmas, choose Cartus Agri Limited. Cartus Agri Limited. Freshness you can trust.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Kalika, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Freddy once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Maybe this Sasso spray. Mr. Freddy Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso. Sasso, come on, tum preko.
Are you a public sector worker dreaming of owning your own home but worried about the upfront cost? At Rehoboth Havens, we've made home ownership not only possible but simple, affordable, and convenient. For the first time, you can own your own home with no physical deposit required. Through our partnership with reputable Ghanaian banks, your Provident Fund becomes your deposit, making the process smooth and stress-free. After that, you simply pay the balance through an affordable mortgage with monthly installments designed to fit your income. With mortgage rates as low as 15% and a repayment period of up to 20 years, securing your future home has never been easier. And the best part, every Ghanaian worker deserves a decent home. Own your 2-bedroom home today, starting from just 675,000 Ghana cedis, or upgrade to our executive 3 and 4 bedrooms, all on Sweet Homes, even for more space, comfort, and luxury. Rehoboth Havens is located in the serene hills of Ayimensa Damfa, offering breathtaking views of the Pediasi Ebri Mountains. Here, you're not just buying a house, you are joining a secure, gated community designed for peace, privacy, and comfortable family living. Say goodbye to land litigation, building stress, and construction delays. Say hello to your own home. Move-in ready and free from legal complications. Secure your retirement now. For more information, call us today at +233 55 375 1933 or +233 20 682 3524. Rehoboth Social Housing. Your housing dream becomes reality.
I told you before that Idrisu Haruna, the Minister for Education, and Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, who is an Odadie, are fighting. They are fighting gidi. And I'm going to tell you why they are fighting tonight. So what has happened is that, first, for you to believe me that they are fighting, I need to show you 2 videos. Now, the first video I'm going to show you is Idrisu Haruna here, speaking at Mauli Secondary School for their, I think it was their 75th anniversary, Mauli 75. And he said that you cannot keep your hair and come to school, and you remember that sparked off all the, whether to keep the hair or not to keep the hair. The foreign minister, Okudzeto Ablakwa, goes to his former school, having been invited as the guest speaker, which for this year at PRESEC was quite different from the special guest of honor. So there was a special guest of honor, and then there was a guest speaker, which was him. He is part of the government of Haruna Idrisu. He didn't have to say that, he didn't have to contradict the education minister. He didn't need to. In fact, it was wrong for him to. If I'm chief of staff, he's the one I'm going to punish, because the one minister spoke first about it. Even if that's not the government position, another minister should not go public against it. So our great friend from Odadie may be wrong in this regard, because Idrisu Haruna spoke first, and he is the sector minister. He controls education. And he spoke and said that your haircut, it won't work. I'm not interested. Go and cut your hair. Shut up over there. That's what he said. And what he said typically will represent the government's position. Then weeks down the line, Ablakwa comes to say the opposite. And in doing so, he talks down on the people who are thinking that hair is important. First, let's see Haruna Idrisu.
There is an ongoing debate in social media about haircuts and size and length of hair in secondary schools. We will not tolerate it today, we will not tolerate it tomorrow, and so long as we are molding character. If we give in to hair today, tomorrow it will be shoes, and the next day it will be the way they dress. Therefore, as part of our disciplinary measures, headmasters and GES, you are accordingly empowered to take full control of how students behave on your campuses. So anybody who thinks that your child will walk into any institution of learning as if that child, forgive my words, was to attend a beauty contest, the school environment is not for that purpose and not cut for that purpose, and would not tolerate that as an institution.
That was the Minister for Education speaking at Maoli Secondary School 75th anniversary. To all intents and purposes, the Minister for Education, Idrisu Haruna, was actually communicating the government position on the matter. To all intents and purposes, that's how it will appear, isn't it? He was communicating the government position on the matter. But then comes Okudzeto Ablakwa last Saturday at the other day event. Come along and join us. Let's show it. What did Ablakwa say?
Instead of focusing on how strict religious doctrines are being enforced in our schools and the weird correlation between short hair and disciplined students, it is time to ponder over the real issues. Why is our educational system producing graduates who criminally create thousands of ghosts to fleece the state when real human beings are looking for jobs? Why is our educational system producing graduates who will destroy our environment, pollute our river bodies, and create a public health crisis for the rest of us just to advance their greedy Galamsey search for gold? Why is our educational system producing graduates who lack ethical leadership? Why is our educational system producing graduates who commit Ghana to unconscionable transactions? Why is our educational system producing plutocratic graduates who want so much for themselves and don't care about the country they lead and the generations coming after them? To me, with all due respect, these are the weightier matters.
So the Minister for Foreign Affairs in his government is telling the Education Minister that, Chief, that's your ridiculous analysis of short hair and it has a correlation with discipline. I don't even understand it. That's not what you should be focusing on. Focus on why people come from the university that we are training them, they are doing this. You are a new Minister for Education. You have inherited a system. Check why the system produced those people and stop talking about things that are not important. That's the content analysis of the two videos. About 4 weeks apart. That's the content analysis. Ablakwa is fighting with Idrisu Haruna. Idrisu Haruna is fighting with Ablakwa. Ablakwa is fighting with him. My responsibility here, viewers, today is to show you that as a political news reporter, I know why. I know why they are fighting. So I'm going to take you through it. Stay with me. Don't go fast. Stay with me. I'm going to show you why they are fighting. It's for a very big price. They are not, they are not fools. They are not fools. They are fighting for a very big price. And they won't be fighting if the price is not big. It's huge. You can see, Saki has put on the screen, the tussle for VIP in NDC. That's what they are fighting about. That is the fight. They both of them want to be the next vice president if the NDC were to win 2028. And both of them want to be vice president for the same presidential candidate. So this is the vice president, Professor Jenna Nopokwajiman. She has long had an excellent relationship with Ablakwa in the Mahama first term. Let me tell you how that relationship occurred. Before the Mahama first term, during the campaign, she was a debate host. She and Kojo Ponkroma were hosts of the IEA debate. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa was part of the team to prepare President John Dramani Mahama for the debate. So typically, between the IEA, the debate host, and the candidates people, they have some encounters. And it is there that I believe Ablakwa and Madame became quite tight. When the election was won, the vice president now revealed her NDC colors, because when she was a debate host, she didn't show that she's NDC, even though she had been at Radio Gold and many people thought that she was an Ato Ahoy protege. In fact, we made the point on social media, if you go, is there. When she was being chosen for the running mate position in 2020 that Ato Ahoy, who were represented by the word Church Street, because he had an important office in a Laboni street called Church Street. So that's how we call him in political parlance. When news reporters are talking, they talk of Church Street. They mean Ato Ahoy back in the day when some people also used to call him Don King and all of that. So when we are exchanging text, we say Church Street says so and so, it means Ato Ahoy says so. So we put out a note that Church Street is pushing for Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman to be the running mate of Professor Mills. I still remember who told me, but I won't say it today. Now, when she became running mate, before she became running mate, she was Minister for Education. When she was Minister for Education, Ablakwa was her deputy. So in the first Mahama term, they forged such a tight alliance as deputy and boss. Ablakwa was the more political deputy. She is the more technocratic vice chancellor of the university, blah, blah, blah. So they worked together excellently. Then Idrisu Haruna at that time was working far away. He was working at communication. No, he was working at trade to labor, something like that. Communication was in the Mills administration. She wasn't a member of the Mills government, but Ablakwa was a member of the Mills government. So right now, Ablakwa has been a member of 3 executive governments: Mills, Mahama, and Mahama. 3 executive governments. So this vice president is close to Ablakwa. Now, vice president has come in the saddle. Perhaps you should have added Ofosu Ampoffo's photograph for me. Vice president has come in the saddle. They won the election. She's vice president. Ofosu Ampofo hears that Johnson Asiedu Ketia is eternal, perennial nemesis in the NDC, is running for president. Ofosu Ampofo doesn't want that to happen. Okay, so he is saying that, but Madam is more competent than party chairman, so Madam should be. So Ofosu Ampofo is pushing the Madam agenda together with Alex Segbefia. Okudzeto Ablakwa here is responsible for gathering the Volta region onto the vice president. You see, Okudzeto Ablakwa, his work is get Volta region for the vice president. And Ofosu Ampoffo's work is that anybody but Asiedu Nketia and first vice president is competent. Alex Segbefia is rooted onto that agenda as well. So this is what is happening. All right. Now with this background, let's go and look at the history, and then we'll come back. So I've been listening to what has been happening with the World Cup and all of that, and you know tonight we have a World Cup discussion, but just before we do that, there's a reason why I'm in a Nigerian jersey and why the Nigerian flag is behind me. I heard many Ghanaians excited that Nigeria is not going to the World Cup and we are going to the World Cup and Nigeria is not going to the World Cup. I was very worried. Why are we happy that Nigeria is not going to the World Cup and we are going to the World Cup? Why are we happy about that? Have we so quickly forgotten that we are fighting a single battle of neocolonialism? We are fighting a battle of self-determination, a battle of recognition. So I've come here tonight to just give you 5 minutes before we have the main discussion. 5 minutes of a bit of history of the World Cup to help Ghanaians understand why we shouldn't be excited that an African giant did not go to the World Cup. Now, the World Cup started in 1934, something like that. And they were been playing World Cups before all the colonial edifice was pulled out in 1960. And then Africa became a complete continent where we can represent ourselves. So 1934 World Cup, forget about it, we didn't go. 1938, we didn't go. After that, the Second World War came in. World Cup was not held until after, I think, 1952 or so. That was the first World Cup after the Second World War. Then they came 1956. And then there wasn't a World Cup in 1962, I believe. There was a World Cup in 1962. Then 66, England won the World Cup, which was played in England. I think 62 was played in Sweden or something like that. And then 1970 was one of the best World Cups that happened before all of us were born. The 1970 World Cup was thought to be the watershed World Cup. It was a World Cup that was first broadcast on television from all over the world for people to see. It was a World Cup held in Mexico, or if you like Mexico. It was a grand World Cup. And it was a World Cup that also was the last World Cup of the celebrated Edson Arantes de Nascimento, Pele. So Pele played in the 1970 World Cup. Africa was at the 1970 World Cup, represented by Congo. Congo were so badly beaten, and in those days, the World Cup had 24 countries, and they give Africa 2 slots. 2. 1, 2. Africa, oh, big continent like that. You get 2 slots for World Cup in 1970, played in Mexico. Then in 1974, the World Cup is played in West Germany. Africa gets 2 slots. World Cup 1974 Germany, 2 slots. Then in 1978, the World Cup is played in Argentina, and Argentina bring up a new player called Mario Kempes. The first time an Argentine player is dominating conversation around the football world. His name is Mario Kempes. Argentina host and win the World Cup. Mind you, 1974 World Cup is hosted and won by West Germany. 1970 World Cup is won by Brazil in Mexico. In 74 is won by West Germany in West Germany. In 78 is won by the Dutch. No, it's won by Argentina in Argentina. The interesting thing about 74 and 78 World Cup is that both of them had the Dutch in the final. The Johan Cruyff's team, the big Holland Orange team, they were in the final in 1974 and the final also in 1978. Then comes 1982. Something significant happens for Africa in 1982. Guess what happens? In the opening group game in 1982, which tournament was played in Spain, Algeria defeat West Germany by 2-1, and that's the first time everybody's thinking, hey, the Africans can also do something. But this is North Africa, Algeria, Africa. So, you know, when Africa has to take pride from something, it has to be done by a country that is Sub-Saharan Africa. You know where the Sahara Desert is, just below the north, and then we all start. So this is a country above the Sahara. So it's Africa, but it's North Africa. Okay, no problem. But it's still Algeria. Rabamaje, the Algerian superstar, emerges out of the tournament as a great player. And they beat West Germany in the opening game. They didn't do much beyond that. West Germany goes all the way to the final and play the grand final with Italy. Then comes 1986 World Cup. By this time, some of us are all growing up. 1986 World Cup is held again in Mexico. And it brings up Diego Maradona doing stupendous work, dribbling all of the England people. And in 1986 World Cup, Morocco actually play. They do well. They win some group games. And that's how Africa was doing. Africa goes to the World Cup and wins a group game, and that's significant. That was all we got. Win a group game, 1986. Then comes the big deal. The big story of Africa begins with Cameroon in 1998. And that is why the African reps in that tournament was Cameroon and Egypt. 1990 World Cup. And that is why I think countries like Cameroon and Nigeria should be applauded anytime there's a conversation about World Cup. And we should stop doing what we are doing in Ghana, and we take videos and we are laughing at Nigeria, and we say that Nigeria has picked group block. Nigeria has picked wood. They are in group wood and all that. I mean, really, we should be more serious than that. The World Cup is not just a game. It's not a spectacle. It is a representation contest. It's like the Olympics of the 60s before the Cold War. During the Cold War, the Olympic Games was not just about athletics. It was about a show of power, a show of strength, a show of unity, a show of resolve, a show of resilience. That's what the Olympic Games depicted. And the World Cup has come to depict that as well. The World Cup is about representation of countries, representation of continent, representation of race. That's what the World Cup is about. So if you have Nigeria not going to the World Cup, all of Africa must be unhappy. Some of Africa must not be jubilating Nigeria didn't go to the World Cup. That's why I'm doing this. Let me go on. So 1990 World Cup. This is Cameroon and Egypt. Now Cameroon go to the World Cup in 1990 and do so well, so excellently well, that there is pressure, political pressure, and it's not football pressure, it's political pressure on FIFA to increase Africa's representation. Because Cameroon goes to that World Cup and they beat everyone, including the host Argentina, playing with Maradona. Cameroon playing with 9 men. They beat Argentina 1-0 in the opening game. Cameroon make it and become the first African country, this time Sub-Sahara, glory be to God, Sub-Sahara, and they go to the quarterfinal of the World Cup. We can never say thank you enough to Roger Miller and his team. What were their names? Infede, those people of my generation. Do you have them here? Oh, great. This is the Cameroonian team. This is... So good evening. Welcome to this edition of the program, and there's a constitutional proposal for constitutional amendments. We're going to have a discussion on that. There are several discussions we're going to have on that. This is going to be a preliminary one. But tonight we have a documentary for you that will end our 2025 expressions on Good Evening Ghana. We're going to be showing you a documentary. In America, they say a documentary. A documentary. Good evening and welcome to the show. My name is Paul Adunwachi. Thank you very much for your time. It's always an amazing pleasure to come to you with Good Evening Ghana. Tonight, We have a lot for you. Constitutional review issues. So earlier today, was it yesterday? Yesterday, Monday. The Constitution Review Commission, led by H. Kwesi Prempeh, had submitted its reports to John Dramani Mahama. I nearly said Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. Forgive me, we've put a documentary together about 2025 and about third term of President Mahama and about the politics of Ghana since 92 and how many times third term conversations have been had. We have a documentary coming up on the show tonight. You can't miss it. It's about 20 minutes long. We worked very hard on it. So, when we say we work hard on a documentary, it's truly very good because of the numbers of intelligent young people that are working on the project. So tonight we're going to show you that documentary. It traces the history of second terms and Jane Nano Pokwajiman in the saddle, Julius Debra, and everybody else. Let's get to the touchscreen and do some very hard constitutional analysis. Today is the last program for 2025, so we're just taking liberties and appearing in casual, even though it's a Tuesday. So Lawyer Preku will be joining me. He's coming straight from court. Now, no, not yet. The Constitution Review Commission has finished its work eventually. And apparently the spelling of amendments is wrong. Amendment. We could check it. Thank you very much, Sami. I don't want to mention your full name, but Sami sent me a shot that the spelling of amendment. My viewers are very critical. They are also editors of the show, so he sent me that. But we do have the Constitution Review situation right here with us. John Dramani Mahama collected the document from H. Kwesi Prempeh, shared a joke with Charlotte Osei and Justice Agnes Dorji. No, is that Agnes Dorji I'm talking about? Yes, I believe it is. April correct me when he comes. For a former Supreme Court judge who was a member of the Constitution. Adinyera, her ladyship, Justice Adinyera in yellow over here. Professor A.C. Ansan, Professor Kwame Kaikari, Charlotte Osei, the Attorney General. We're going to say something about Attorney General today, but it's Christmas, so when we come back, there's a lot. We review the press conferences, all the press conferences. We have reviewed everything Dominic Ayine said in every press conference, and we built a portfolio on it. We'll share with you after Christmas. Everything he said in every press conference, now we've categorized it into allegations, accusations, prosecutory, everything. We've put it into different colors. We'll show it to you, and then you can appreciate it. So yes. Constitution Review Commission today went to President Akufo-Addo, President Mahama, and gave him the the proposals for a review of the 1992 Constitution. Ghana's 1992 Constitution was formulated as a novel constitution in the world. It is the only constitution in the world that combines the American system and the British political system and merges the executive and the legislature in a way that no other constitution does in the world. The recommendations include also the tenure of the president. The tenure of the president is 4 years under the Constitution with an opportunity for a second term. H. Kwesi Prempeh told President Mahama and the gathering that he could not find a basis for a third term in the Constitution. But we here on Good Evening Ghana have found the basis for the third term, and we're going to show it to you in a 20-minute documentary that we've put together. Apreku will come and join me now. We'll discuss with you whilst we get the documentary ready. He must have gone in to change the proposals for constitutional amendments. It's a discussion. So we are ready now to give you. We're just going to deal with 3 or 4. Give me Lawyer Bafo Ewa's photograph, gentlemen. And then let me say something about Lawyer Bafo Ewa relating to the constitutional amendments that we are talking about. Do you have Bafo Ewa's photograph? You certainly do. Oh, they can find it. They should find it. Find Bafo Ewa's photograph. When it's ready, just let me know. But Apreku is going to come in. We're going to discuss the constitutional amendment. We're going to begin with explaining to you, our viewers, that whatever is in the constitutional amendment document will begin at a certain stage. And we just need to tell you that so you can get it at the onset so we can move on. Please, Lawyer, come in. So Lawyer Apreku has joined me now. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, proposals for constitutional amendment. Let's discuss. So, Lawyer Bafo will be joining us after the new year. We'll have a very big program on this. Okay. We're going to spend some 2 hours with him talking about that.
Proposals.
I see that the NPP in Parliament have said that they are setting up a committee to review
yes.
all of that.
By,
but it was interesting as I looked at some of the things Dr. Prempeh said, Dr. H.K.C. Prempeh, some of the things he said. Some of the things he said, it gave me the impression that there was perhaps no political scientist on the team. Because some of the things he said, unworkable. They may be good, but you see, the interest, politics is about interest. Nobody can take that away from anyone. Politics is about interest. You can call it selfish, you can call it whatever, but it's about interest. So when you bring proposals in a constitutional amendment, and you know, they should have been guided, I'm sure they were guided by the fact that the Mills one actually failed.
Yes.
And the Mills one had a repository of serious constitutional experts. Fiajo, who was the chair, is a major constitutional.
Brought in from West Indies.
Yes.
For that project.
Yes. He's a solid constitutional expert. There were other people on the panel, Apia Minkan, other judges, and Atuguba was the secretary. The other time he just come from Harvard. You know, he's big on innovative law at the time. Even that and the kind of work that was done. Now this is Lawyer Bafo. He's an MP for Misha South. Bafo tells me that he is excited about studying the document, and that when the document is fully studied, after the holidays, he'll come here and we'll discuss it. He tells me that he's going to be on Newsfile on Saturday. Those of you who want to get a glimpse of what he's found, you can watch him on Newsfile on Saturday and see it. But I'll be watching as well. He'll be joining us in the new year. We'll sit on the touch screen together and deal with it. So back to the question. So if politics is about interest and you are making proposals for constitutional amendment, you must consider the interest, because the same people who are going to carry the amendment for it to happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was, you know, so I saw a Facebook post where someone says that it would seem like many of the proposals, because are adverse to persons' interest or those of the political class, it may be difficult for them to pass sane.
Yes, let's get an understanding for our viewers. First of all, changing the constitution, there are 2 ways of doing it, isn't there?
Yes.
You can do it by a parliamentary majority, some of them, some by a 2/3 majority, and the entrenched clauses must come to a referendum.
Yes.
Now, we have to let our viewers understand that when entrenched clauses are being amended, Parliament actually has no role in it.
Yes.
Parliament's role is just that the 276 members of Parliament are part of the Electoral College that will vote on the amendment as voters. That's about it.
Yes.
People think that you have 2/3 of Parliament, so you can change this, you can change it. No. The entrenched clauses, and all the executive is entrenched, apparently.
Chapter 8, yes.
Is judiciary also entrenched?
Yes, so chapter 8 is entrenched. That's executive. And then the judiciary also is entrenched. The rationale is to prevent.
Entrenched means that they make it difficult for you to change it.
That's
absolutely.
So it means to change, you have to come to the people.
You have to come back to the people, because as the Constitution says, we the people of Ghana, sovereignty relies in the people. Sovereignty lies in the people. Okay. So we have to get people to understand that. The NDC majority of 189 in Parliament is inconsequential to a constitutional amendment on entrenched clauses. That also must be made clear.
When we don't want it, we don't want it. When the people do not want it, whether they have 2/3 or 100%.
The point we are making is that the 2/3 in Parliament do not vote on constitutional amendments.
Yes.
They don't. So whether you have 2/3 or not, you can have 100% of the Parliament. If you want to amend an entrenched clause, you still have to bring it to the people. 70% of the number of registered voters must vote in that election, and 75% of those who vote must vote for the amendment before it is carried.
45 of those entitled to vote should vote, and then 75
of those who vote
say yes.
Of those who vote
yes,
to
so
say yes.
45% of those entitled to vote generally.
Okay, so let's look at it.
Should vote.
Are we headed there though with some of the proposals that he's? Are we headed to a referendum if we carry some of the proposals?
Oh, yes. I mean, some of the proposals.
All the executive.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
All is going to a referendum.
Yes.
So you need 45% of 10 million people.
Entitled to vote. So
but that's 10 million people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would mean we would have to go back to the Electoral Commission.
10 million.
Which would then, so assuming it's 10 million, we need 45%. And of that 45%, 75 are supposed to vote yes in favor of the said amendment before it can be carried.
So if 70 votes for the said amendment, it fails.
It's not 75, so it fails.
74.9 fails.
It fails. The rationale is that we should make it difficult. The threshold to change the constitution should be relatively higher. And so that's why the test is high. So
it kind of comes back to Akufo-Addo's point where he tells that you don't really need to change much in the constitution, etc., etc. Yes. But there are interesting proposals that have been made by HKC Prempeh. So the other thing we need to point out before we get into his documentation is that the implementation of whatever he's doing, it can only come after the referendum, and it can only be implemented after 2028 selection.
Yes.
So those who were voted for in 2024, either as a member of parliament, a DCE, or as president, your tenure remains as it was when you were elected.
Yes.
So even though he's recommending 5 years for the president, if we carry that amendment, it will begin with the president who is sworn in 2029.
Yes.
That's when it will begin.
Yes.
It's not that John Dramani Mahama gets to 2028 and says, HKC Prempeh says I have 1 more year, so we go 1 more year. We need to get viewers to understand
the general
that.
principle is there's a presumption against the non-retroactivity of laws, which means that when laws are passed, it cannot be applied backwards to take effects from the past. So President Mahama was voted for a 4-year term. President Mahama will serve that 4-year term.
People may not see it as retrospective, and that's the interesting thing. It is definitely retrospective, but if you look at it with your administrative eye, President Mahama is president now. We are in 2025. Tomorrow is 2026. 2028 hasn't come.
Yes.
So why are you saying that if 2028 comes and Ghanaians have voted for a 5-year term of president, why can't he just continue?
So normally what the law does is to avert these things, there would be a transitional clause which would say that on the basis of these provisions being carried or these provisions being implemented, the implementation will start from so and so president or so and so person, which would ordinarily not be the one who is currently occupying the office. So there would be a law which will be passed most likely to offer smooth transition, so that the term president in the amended constitution will not be taken to mean the sitting president, but the president who is to come, the next president.
Who will be elected under those rules, those provisions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because Ghanaians voted for him for 4 years.
Okay. So whatever we are discussing has nothing to do with President Mahama in terms of his, in the current MPs. So now let's pick it up. First one, which one is the most controversial?
So the committee finds no issue with the 2-year terms. With the 2 terms that's 2-term maximum of a president. However, they have an issue with the tenure. So the committee.
No, but why didn't they find any issue with the 2 terms? Why is Dr. Prempeh saying there's no ambiguity?
Well, by virtue of the fact that they went and did some consultations, it would seem that Ghanaians are comfortable with the fact that.
Oh, when he said no ambiguity, he meant what they gathered. What they gathered.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
People
I get it.
Certain that we do not want a president.
I thought he meant in their minds, in the experts, the mind of the committee experts, they felt there was no ambiguity.
Because the role of the committee was to go around and gather information from people as to what we would want.
So they are reporting to us how people felt.
Exactly. So it's a report.
Nobody wants any third term issue.
Exactly.
That's the point he made.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's
however,
the tenor.
Making the point that it should be extended from 4 years to 5 years. Each term of the president should be extended from 4 years to 5 years.
He argues for time to implement.
Yeah, the rationale, or what many people have argued for a while, is that the first year the president chooses to set up. The last year is elections. And so really the president has just about 2 years to effectively work. And so by doing 5 years, assuming the president still has a first year to set up, then it would mean that the
So why don't you make it 6 years?
Maybe that would also be too long, because that would mean if you have a bad president, you are stuck with a bad president for 6 years. That is a problem. It's like
but you can have a president who is bad in year 1, bad in year 2, good in year 3, good in year 4, good in year 5. You can have a president who is good in year 1, good in year 2, bad in year 3, bad in year 4.
Better safe than sorry. So
so what's the point they're making?
It's better not to risk it in that way. But I would have thought.
But 5 is still a risk.
I would have even thought that if the issue is about setting up, then why don't we divest, which is what they've done, or which they've attempted to do, divest most of the appointments powers from the president, so that once you enter office.
But they didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about the president's powers. Or I've not read all of it.
No, I mean, there are other parts of that talks about MMDAs, which is a huge headache for every president, because you have to appoint
But they're asking for the election of MMDs on non-partisan lines.
Yes, but
that one will fight with them. They have to do it on partisan lines. I think the conversation has just started, so everyone is going to serve an opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't go to an election without knowing whether it's NDC or MPP. It's going to be hypocritical. It's going to be fake. No candidate is going to be truly independent. Because even with the district assemblies that we have today, NDC claims victory. MPP claims victory.
Some campaign with party colors. Just
no, you can't. You can't campaign with party colors.
Oh, some they do, but not the party logo.
No. You see, they make their colors look like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you see, you know that.
So NDC is red, green, black, and then you put some black and somewhere. So I don't understand how, given this circumstance, as a student of political science, that anybody would say that let's go and have the election without partisan connotation, partisan colorization. But what are you talking about? But they do it in Nigeria. In Lagos, they run on party lines for mayor. What's the problem with it? London is old. London has been doing that forever. But they will say London, they are developed, they won't throw stones. Lagos, they will throw stones like Ghana, like Cote d'Ivoire. They run on partisan lines. South Africa, they do it. So I'm not sure why anybody thinks. They think that the situation is too polarized and Ghana is too polarized. And if we add partisan to this, I think the rationale is really lost. The rationale is that there will be local government authority representing or mimicking what is at the central government. So if at the central government you have a contest of MPP and NDC, we want that to come to the local government. For MPP and NDC to compete in Lejokuku, to compete in Ganoth, and to show us what they can do as MPP in Lejokuku, in Menchia, in Kumasi, in Takoradi, NDC, show us what they can do, etc., etc. It builds the political parties. It allows their young people to have something to do in the form of an executive situation, so that tomorrow when they become somebody, they can. So you are a bright young person, you belong to party A or party B, they have won the mayor in Takoradi. They say, okay, lawyer, come and be the counsel for the mayor in Takoradi. They are preparing you for attorney general.
But I think the fear is that if you also do that, the central government is NDC. Most of the funds flow from the central government, and so it may be a problem. If the funds are flowing from the central government to say Ablekuma Central, and Ablekuma Central is, maybe opposition controlled.
They will send the money.
Yeah, it may be a problem. I think that's the thinking.
Let's do that on two legs. So that's a good that's a good fear. If there's anything like that, it's a genuine fear. Now, if we elect the way we are electing, I can assure you, the central government in Accra will know that Paul Adomachi, who is the mayor of Ejoso, is MPP. They will know.
They will know anyway.
They will know. They will definitely know. Even today, they know. They know the assembly members, they know. So what's the point? The other thing is that the reason why money must flow from the central government, that's the critical bit. That must stop.
Yeah, it should be.
And that is why we are asking for partisan voting. So if you have elected a mayor in Lejokuku, he controls Lejokuku. He can decide that I'm charging this for taxi, I'm charging this for sanitation, I'm charging this for that, I'm charging that for that. Another mayor in East Legon may decide that I'm charging more for this and more for that because I want to do this for my people. If I don't do that, they will not elect me. So central government will reduce the power of the purse, which central government controls, will be reduced. That's what happens in Nigeria. That's what happens in London. That's what happens in New York. Didn't Donald Trump lose the New York mayorship? The Republicans lose the New York. That is the real demonstration of the crucifixion of the winner takes all. Winner takes all must die for our democracy to succeed. Without winner takes all dying, our democracy is not going anywhere. So to break the winner takes all, central government must not be the one giving money to local government. Local governments must design how they make their own money in their locality. That is the innovation that politics brings. So right now, we don't have any innovative politics. You go to parliament, you don't have to do anything. You get your salary. Whether you debate, you don't debate. There's no way to find...
MMDs.
Yes. MMDs. I'm talking about, I'm giving an example that right now, there is no meritocracy. Yeah. If I'm elected a member of parliament, you can't tell me that I'm a bad member of parliament. There's no criteria to say I'm a bad member of parliament. Where still, there's no criteria to say there's a bad minister, a bad deputy minister. But if we introduce these mayors are running as president, that is are running as partisan, that is where we can determine that this mayor is good, this mayor is bad. It also serves as a platform to recruit people into the central government that we already know. Often, January 7th comes every 4 years. Members of parliament we don't know them.
Oh, yes, yes.
Only the few loud ones who are on Good Morning Ghana and that. We don't know the members of parliament. If you ask me, I've been a news reporter for 20-something years. The 276 members of parliament, how many I know, it will be a very small number because they just show up.
Even West MMGs.
But if, that's what we don't know them at all. But if they were running partisan elections, I would say that, the guy who ran in Kintampo and won for NDC, Charlie, the guy is very articulate. Is that his name? Okay, I know him. He's now a member of parliament. That's interesting. If we don't do that to build our democracy, we are not going anywhere. So I'm really not sure why Dr. Prempeh was taken over by the romanticization of this non-partisan
thing. It's a start of a debate. So obviously, people would have discussions and things.
There are a group of people who are dead against partisan civil society people. They are dead against it. And I think that they had influenced Dr. Prempeh, and that's why we are seeing what we are seeing. Because the wedding is this Kweku Azar and all these people, the things they talk about. That's what we are seeing in the recommendations. Well, I don't know. But there's a lot to talk about it. It's out now, so we'll be dealing with it.
So they also recommend that the minimum age a person must attain to qualify for election of president must be reduced from 40 to 30.
What's the rationale behind that?
So he was asked this evening by Kemeni Amano of TV3, and he answered that if you look at former President Kufuor, who was a deputy foreign affairs minister and who was in parliament at the age of 28, he did well. I mean, a lot of people could see he had promise, and so at this time, relatively, politics is not a reserve for the old, and so for younger people who have that potential and who are able to muscle enough support should be able to run for the presidency. And so that's the view, so that it makes politics more inclusive for young people. And so, for instance, if you look at Netherlands, they have a relatively young prime minister who is in his early 30s.
European prime ministers are usually young.
Yeah, they are usually young. But
because they have a bicephalous executive. They have a bicephalous executive. And the whole country is not relying on the shoulders of a prime minister.
And that's different
so
because
what's the point?
For them, they are elected even by, most of the times, the prime ministers are not directly elected.
They are not directly elected.
They do mostly parliamentary.
Indirect,
parliamentary democracy. And so that is why. And so many people also hail this as something new or nouvelle, which would include youth participation in politics.
No, I think they were playing to the gallery. Sorry, I have to be very blunt. They were clearly playing to the gallery. What is 30 years as president? And he uses President Kufuor as an example. Right in that example is the point that defeats him. Buzia told Kufuor, when Kufuor was 29, when he called him and said, I want to make you deputy foreign affairs. Kufuor wanted a ministerial position. And Buzia told him that, no, you're too young. No. Kufuor himself said this in a documentary, which we have. He has been interviewed by the Buzia children. Akosua and Abena Buzia. Kufuor said so. Buzia told him that, no, you can't be minister now. Brilliant as you are from Oxford. I'm from Oxford too. I love you. But you have to be deputy minister. Now, that is the moral of the story. So I don't know what Kwesi Prempeh is talking about.
I also think it's for youth participation. That maybe if the youth see that somebody or there's a potential for someone who is 30, it sort of heals youth apathy.
But that's a playing to the gallery. Is there youth apathy in politics in Ghana? Check all elections.
Majority.
Check from 2008. The youth role in Ghanaian presidential election is been growing significantly compared to 2024.
With the advent of social media.
The advent of social media, the youth participation, we are not lacking youth participation. We are not Denmark or Norway where the young people don't even know that today is voting day. We are not that. We are a very vibrant democracy. You don't need to entice the youth with age 30. In any case, I'm not so sure whether this is going to happen.
As I said, so it's a start of discussion. Because this would have to find itself in bills. That would have to go...
in fact, the 1992 Constitution is the one that had the lowest age for president. And the whole conversation was that 40 was given to fit J.J. Rawlins's age so that he will be eligible to contest.
1979 was
45.
Was 45.
Yes. Okay. So I really don't know where he's coming from because the 1992 has the youngest age. I think I don't know whether they had a historian on the committee, but maybe, they needed these things. They needed to understand the Buzia conversation properly. The thing they report, I was so disappointed
in those days,
because the documentary actually said Buzia said Kufuor is too young.
In those days, but the thing is that Kufuor could have been prime minister. Because
if we were running that kind of government, yes.
Yeah. As I said, most of those countries that often have the young prime ministers are parliamentary democracies such as UK, Netherlands, and so on and so forth.
But
so Kufuor also could have been a prime minister.
But lawyer, I think it flips flops. You see, Ronald Reagan in American democracy,
the actor,
was president at 80.
Yeah, I think he was the oldest before Biden.
Trump is only 1 or 2 years younger than Biden. And he's president after Biden. So he's old. But it's the same America that produced John Kennedy, who was president at 42.
Yeah.
The same America that produced Barack Obama, who was president at 46. The same America produced Bill Clinton, president at 44. So you have to allow the process to determine. So America produces an 80-year-old president. America produces a 42-year-old president.
Yeah, so maybe you're saying Ghana should also produce a 30-year-old president and also an 80-year-old president.
You don't need a limit to be 30 for a young man who is 30 years to be president of Ghana. I'm not sure we are ready for
these
that.
things will start conversations. So
okay, so the 30 years, as far as I'm concerned, today you are doing the thing, I'm guest. So as far as I'm concerned, 30 years, take it out. What next?
So this immunities after ceasing to be president. You know, presidents are immune from criminal and civil actions in courts. And the limitation extends to the term of their presidency and 3 years after.
Yes, 3 years after,
the presidency. And so now there's a recommendation that it should be extended to 4 years within his ceasing to be president, and in respect of anything done or omitted to be done by him in his personal capacity before or during his office.
I don't understand. Why they added
so
1 year?
3 to 4 years.
Why? Or it's in the recommendation?
Yes, so this is the committee.
Yeah, I know.
Is it the committee report?
Is there something back? When they say these things, is there something in the document?
I have not cited a full. You know, they back it. Reports.
Yeah, they back
something similar to the Akufo-Addo reports in 1969. That I have not cited. Maybe there'll be something more comprehensive.
Or even the SKB Asante report on the Consultative Assembly.
Consultative Assembly in 92. No, I think these are preliminary, so we have to give it time.
This is a very serious matter.
Akufo-Addo was 69, SKB Asante's 92.
No, so they say the president's immunity should be extended to 4 years.
4 years after his seizing.
Instead of 3 years after.
After his seizing.
I really want to see the reasons for that.
And then this is a point. So this is the
big one.
Big one. So ministers must come from outside parliament. Simpliciter.
Why?
Currently, the regime allows for, the currently legal regime mandates for majority of ministers or members of cabinet to come from parliament, as we have now. Now, the recommendation is let us split executive and legislature in 4, so that we only have ministers who come out of parliament or parliamentarians in the strict sense. And if a parliamentarian resigns or leaves parliament, he is unable to be appointed as a minister for that term. The rationale is that to prevent a situation
people
where
from going to parliament,
and then.
But that's what happened. That's what happened. The third parliament. In the third parliament, if you had become a member of parliament and you became a minister, you leave, and there's a by-election that's occasioned. Okay.
So that's to prevent such a situation. They've done that, and so now the debate is, what about the friction between the executive and the legislature? Because remember, in 2022, when majority of the backbenchers of the MPP impressed on Nana Addo for the then finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta to resign, and so some have this fear that it is possible that it may create more deadlocks between the executive and the legislature. The flip side is
hold on, before it comes to the flip side, just to give you some history. This tension is the reason why Kwame Nkrumah explains that we had the hybrid. The point was that we had this situation in 1979 in the Third Republic.
Yes.
And I was too small then to know anything. But the experts at the time, like Kwame Nkrumah, say that it didn't work.
Yes. So
it didn't work because they believed that Professor George Bennett, who was a non-member of parliament, of course, that constitution, you can't be a member of parliament, came to present his budget. The shenanigans within the chamber overwhelmed him, and the budget failed.
Yes, it was
and so, if Professor Bennett had been a member of the parliament, they believed that it would have been better.
More friendly.
I've been having this argument with Kwame Nkrumah since the beginning of 1992. So let's start. And I used to, because I love the presidential system. That's my own bias. I think it's better. I believe the parliamentary is better for Africa for accountability. But the presidential system gives clarity to things better than what we have mixed up. So I've been talking to Kwame Nkrumah about this for 15 odd years, and at the IEA. Now, the first finance minister of the Fourth Republic was Richard Kwame Pepra. He was not a member of parliament. So that's the point I've been making to Kwame Nkrumah. When I had this conversation with Kwame Nkrumah one of these days in the IEA, he said to me that I should go and check J.H. Mensah and Attorney General. And I said, what is the point about J.H. Mason Attenja? He said, yes, but Kwame Nkrumah was not a member of parliament. He showed up in parliament to present his budget, and he was told that you can't present the budget. If he was a member of parliament,
there would have been more.
So I sort of concede to that. Kwame Nkrumah is very big on this conversation. So then I ask him, next finance minister of the Fourth Republic. Then he says, yeah, Osafo Mafo. And truly, Osafo Mafo's tenure was quite smooth in terms of his relationship with parliament. Then Kwame Nkrumah gets excited and says, okay, next, Ban Redu, another member of parliament, finance minister, member of parliament, Ban Redu, smooth. Another minister who had difficulty with the parliament's finance ministry relation was Seth Terkper. He was not a member of parliament.
But before
it was Kwabena Dufo, I think he was smooth.
Kwabena
was not a member of parliament, but I think he was smooth. Seth Terkper had difficulties. Then Ken Ofori-Atta had major issues. And Ken Ofori-Atta was not a member of parliament. The idea that I'm sure Kwame Nkrumah will sell to us is that if Ofori-Atta was a member of parliament, things would have been different. So he believes that ministers who need parliament, critically, those important ministers who need parliament, is the reason why this provision is there. So that the president will look at it and say that this one, I think I have to go for this MP. And this one, I can go outside the parliament. Everyone was anticipating this amendment. But we were all anticipating it to take the fetter off the president, to allow him to choose ministers from either parliament or outside parliament. That's what everyone was hoping to see.
So maybe the president should just, he can choose.
No, you are removing the cap. You are removing the 50%. The constitution says so, however, that 50% plus a majority should come from parliament. You are removing that one. So the president will appoint his ministers from parliament and outside parliament. This thing they say, they are blocking the president's hand from taking ministers from parliament in the constitutional arrangement that has lasted for 35 years, where we are so used to ministers from parliament. How are we going to achieve that? And then also, people go to parliament so that they become ministers. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, you see, there's nothing wrong with that, but that may be interpreted as a problem. Because now, the representative role which you have been voted for, you may shirk it to catch the eye of the president. And so you notice that, I think
that's correct.
This year, the Right Honourable Alban Bamin had cause to complain that many of the members of parliament within the majority side are absent. And even Afenyo has been teasing them, saying that you are running away from your own chamber, you are super majority, but where are you? And so the fear is that, them trying to catch the eye of the president may be an avenue for them to shirk their responsibilities in parliament, which is why they were voted for. They were not voted for to be Minister of Defence or Minister of Transport.
But if they shirk their responsibilities in parliament, they'll be voted out of parliament. As simple as that. It's a political question.
That's 4 years, but can the people suffer for that 4 years?
Well, the people can raise the point that our MP, we don't see him. Our MP hasn't done this. Our MP hasn't done that. When we complain about parliamentarians, they always tell us that the work of the parliamentarian is not always on the floor of the chamber. That's what they tell us.
It's true.
So the parliamentarian has a lot of things to do.
How many times a week are parliamentarians supposed to be on the floor or in the chamber?
But that means they have a lot more work to do outside the chamber. So it's difficult to evaluate an MP and say that, this man is trying to catch the eye of the president, so he's not doing his work.
So they have a lot more work to do out of the chamber. That is why they should not be appointed as ministers, so that they offload the burden on them, so they can focus on their work in parliament.
I am hoping, just for argument's sake, that this amendment is carried. Then we will see what will happen. We will find people withdrawing from parliament before 2028.
I personally don't think this will go through.
Did they have a sociologist on the panel? The committee.
For that,
you needed an anthropologist to tell you that, given what has happened over the last 35 years and the way the system, the power dynamics in our system, this amendment is 50 years ahead of its time.
I agree.
It's 50 years ahead of its time.
I personally agree with this amendment, but with the social dynamics, I do not know if it will pass because of those in power.
It may pass. We, the people, are passing it. The parliamentarians are only 276.
Yeah, no, the thing is that
if the population voting is 2 billion.
But the bill has to be prepared. Who prepared the bill? The bill for amendments.
But that's automatic.
Has to be prepared.
No, they can't say they don't prepare it.
Yes,
it's automatic.
That right now, the committee has been... the president said that honorably he would comply with the recommendations of the committee. It's a political question. He can tell
so the Attorney General must now take a bill to Parliament.
Yes,
that's the process.
It's not going to be like this. They'll have to put it in a form that, that constitution, this shall be so and so article, this, that it has to be.
And the
that
other
form.
thing,
That's the bill.
is the
Who will draft
referendum
it?
going to? Oh, the Attorney General will have to draft it on the president's instructions.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if the political class, which the president is inclusive, have a problem with this, the president can say that, okay, you draft on this, but you ignore this.
Oh yes, the recommendations given to the president.
It's an issue of honor.
Yeah, the recommendations given to the president are mere recommendations.
Yes.
The president can decide that I'm not interested.
This one I would not examine.
Or I'm not interested in all of it. Let's move on.
You can say that. That's the case I'm making. Yeah. Even though this is, I agree with this, it's now left to the political class. Would they even say that, okay, let's prepare a bill on this and submit it to the people to vote? Because as it stands now, we can't vote on the reports. We have to vote on a bill.
Yes, I get it.
Who prepares the bill? The AG.
But those who prepare the bill, they will be preparing the bill under executive instructions of His Excellency.
And will His Excellency say? I mean, he said he will do it. He said he will do it. But
if the people are carried along significantly, and the people demand that we don't want our MPs to be ministers, and it's a big issue, that will require some campaign again. So I don't know whether NCC are around to sort of go around and explain this to people and let them have their own choice and tell them that se minister MP or MP that kind of thing. Explain to the people and they decide, oh, we want it this way. If that kind of vibe comes out of the people, then the political class might comply.
Okay.
Which one next?
So this is just the continuation.
Yeah.
And so there's supposed to be a cap. Shall not. So it says that the committee recommends an amendment to 78(2) to provide that the total number of ministers of state, including deputy ministers, so ministers, deputies, regional ministers, shall not exceed 3 times the number of ministers in the cabinet. Pursuant to Article 76(1), the number of ministers of state in the cabinet is capped at no more than 19. So, meaning we have 19. It cannot be 3 times more than 19. All deputies, all regional, everything. So they are capping.
And it says this means the total number is 57.
57.
I think this is the best recommendation. This is the best recommendation. This is solid. This is very good. This is really good. Dr. Prempe, you've done well. This one is good. This one is good. So they want us to have 57. How many do we have now? 58.
Yes, right now we have 58. It's too shy of the 60 promise.
Again, there's something missing. If you listen to the debate in Parliament around the number of ministers President Mahama offered, which will be the lowest in the Fourth Republic.
As against the large number of seats.
As against perhaps Akufo-Addo's 120. But then if you listen to Samuel Abu-Jinapor, the member from Damango, the argument he makes, based on his knowledge as a deputy chief of staff, Dr. Prempe should perhaps have said something about that. Because it means that we can still have 57 ministers and another 57 appointees of the president at the rank of ministers.
But that's the case I've always been making.
But why didn't he say anything about that?
So the issue of ministers, a minister is only required or is only limited per the role or the function someone can perform as a minister is only limited per law. So if the law says that the minister responsible for finance shall wear red every Monday, it's because the law says the minister responsible for finance shall wear red. It does not mean that the president cannot or the president is precluded from assigning certain functions to an outsider to perform. Meaning that outsider may have a budget.
Yes.
A budget equivalent to a ministry.
Correct.
That outsider may exercise some functions
I think
in the name of the president.
That is where we are bleeding, and that is where perhaps the committee should have looked at. Not this one. This one may appear cosmetic.
But at the end of the day.
Because if you have 57 ministers, it's great news. But you can have another 67 appointees of the rank of minister called appointment envoy this, envoy that, and that. That's
and you
where
give them budgets.
Yes, that is where we are bleeding, and that is where perhaps the committee should have looked at. If they were really, I don't know. They've been doing their work for a while, so I'm not sure what epoch.
No, but as I said, these are preliminary stages.
No, they really should have dealt with that because that has been a thorny issue, and it's an issue that divides the political opinion in Parliament. And so they really should have come as people who are experts. They should have submitted to that you can appoint 57 ministers, and you may not appoint other appointees whose rank are of the same as ministers. Once you have your 57 ministers.
You are done.
So if you bring an envoy, you have to bring the terms of the envoy to Parliament. For Parliament to determine that these terms are not the same as a minister's terms. And so we understand it. And then they can approve it. So they may not vet them according to appointments committee, but they will have to look at the appointments and vet the terms and approve it. That's really what they should have done. This one, they have done well, but more needs to be done.
Okay, so this is and then here says that if the president intends to exceed the 57, he has to write to Parliament, and then Parliament by a simple majority approve. So if the president intends to add a portfolio which would increase the number from 57 upwards a bit, he would have to come to Parliament for an approval and by simple majority.
That's a good one, but if you have been a parliamentary reporter like me, you see that it's a trap for the ruling party. Because you see, it's a trap for the ruling party, and I'm not sure how they will look at it. If you report from Parliament, you know that what the minority in the context, if the minority is not the same as the president's party, which is often the case, what a minority is going to tell the Ghanaian people that they say they want more ministers, so they brought a letter, and their people have voted for them. They want more ministers. They will have more salary. So this is really a political trap, and I'm not sure. I don't think this will show up in the bill. This particular, I don't think it will show up in the bill. No.
The cap,
the issue about the president writing to ask them for approval. No. It's a political trap, and I don't think the politicians will accept it.
Okay. Now, this also, I don't know if you remember, Asari, an Attorney General.
Yes. The Peter Adjete
68. That when Kufuor was out, I think...
It was Adjete.
Yes. And then...
Aliyu was out.
Aliyu was Nigeria also.
Adjete swore himself in.
Exactly.
It became a big issue.
Asari went to the Supreme Court. So, the presidents, vice presidents, if they are out of the country, shall not be deemed to be unable to perform their functions.
Perfect.
Reason of
I love this.
Their absence.
This actually is the best. I take the other one. This is the best. Because really, it's been a problem.
You see,
President is at African Union with the Ghana flag in front of him. And when he stands to speak, they say that President of the Republic of Ghana, and then he starts talking. Vice President is at Geneva with a Ghana flag in front of her. Why are we saying that they are incapable of doing their job?
You see, we have to look back also at the history. And it's true. It is right, the history. You notice that on the 24th of February, 1966, when the coup day, at that time, Nkrumah, in fact, at the exact time the coup took place, Nkrumah was in the plane from Rangoon, from Myanmar, getting to Peking. Before, when he landed, he was told that he was overthrown. And in fact, at that time, the rationale, Nkrumah had a system called the Presidential Commission. They were a committee of 3 people that were supposed to act as the vice president. He was thinking that it would be harder for one person to convince 2 people to overthrow him. But obviously it didn't happen. So when the coup happened, there was nobody to master control. So if you read
nobody to resist.
Nobody to resist, to have a coordinate attempt. If you read General Fife's books and some accounts, they will tell you that the one who was actually ordering the troops was Fathia Nkrumah. And at the exact time she told...
To defend her.
To defend, because she was in Jubilee House.
Flagstaff at that time.
At that time, Flagstaff House. It was when they brought artillery and bombarded. And they were using, it was gunshots. It was upon the bombardment of the front of Flagstaff House that she said it's okay. She told the POGR, the President's Own Guard Regiment, that they should stop and they should give up. And that was when the coup was successful. And so, and then after, Buzia, when Achampong overthrew Buzia on the 12th of January 1972, or the 13th of January 1972, Buzia was in London for an eye operation and checkup. And then it was as a result of his absence, that is why the coup happened. And so the thinking is we should always have somebody who occupies or is vested with executive power, warming the seats to sort of discourage the military from being funny. If
or somebody here, somebody in the jurisdiction.
Yes.
Coordinate what?
Or in case there is any funny act, and as I said, that it is as a result of precedent. But in today, today's times, we have technology, phones, secure systems. Reach out. I think about.
Okay, so you think that it's a bit outdated?
So the position of Asari saying that somebody should be sworn in to fill the shoes of the president may be outdated. But I'm trying to give an analysis.
So you are saying that the malady that they are seeking to cure does not exist.
Yes, that's the malady Asari sought to cure. Now in 2025, arguably does not exist. More particularly as our democracy is more mature.
I mean, it's off what we are discussing, but let me just mention that Afrifa's account that you quoted is at variance with Nkrumah's account. Nkrumah believes that what he called the gruesome murder of General Bawa is what made the coup successful. Nkrumah calls it murder. The brutal, he calls it the brutal murder of General Bauer.
We're fighting, so it's not really.
No, they went to Bauer's house and they killed him. Yeah, he was not on the battlefield. He was in his home. And they went in and they shot at him and he died.
He was loyal.
I think they killed some bodyguards as well.
He was loyal at that time.
He was a boss of the POGR. Yeah. Okay, so this one will take. Good. So President, so that, do they also say, and I'm sure maybe to be in the big document, do they say, therefore, under which conditions should we say the president is unable to perform it? They must define that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, even the Constitution would say that he has to be, if somebody or if the president is deemed to be not corpus mentis, not correct up there, or
who makes that determination?
That's the thing. So I'm sure it will have to be a doctor or someone of competence to make that determination as to whether or not the president is indeed.
But the president must submit himself for that.
But those are political. So I don't want to sound a bit, but you remember, I mean, we've had similar.
Yeah, we've had issues like that where there were strong recommendations that the president should submit himself for these things.
So I don't really want to go into. And in fact,
but that's still not enough. There has to be a better clarification on the expression unable to perform functions of the president. We have to have it quite clear that when they say it's unable, it means mental deficiency. It means physical incapacity. He's in a wheelchair, or even in a wheelchair, he can do it.
Still, because the job of the president is mainly cerebral. So
So then, unable to perform functions of the president. The other day, lawyer for Justice Stockton was telling me that when they say the Chief Justice is unable to perform his functions, it is a cerebral breakdown. That's what the law refers to. It's not that he has passed here, he has done this, it's a cerebral breakdown or a very major, as they used to say, if the president strips himself naked at Hyde Park and runs across Hyde Park to Park Lane in London, then he's incapacitated. I mean, you never, they say when the king does that, it never happens. So it's really difficult to establish unable to perform his functions unless we say that unable to perform his functions means a cerebral breakdown. He can't think, he can't process, he can't whatever it is. And that determination must be made by qualified medics.
Medical.
Okay, so I think this is a good one.
So beyond the vice president and the speaker of parliament, beyond the president and the vice president,
we have to show our documentary. This conversation will go on for a long time after the break.
So let's then just talk about the National Development Planning Commission.
That one.
So they recommend that and here they also say that scheduling of elections should be sent to November. So that we have 2 months.
I like that.
2 months.
I like that. We were doing that in 2016. I don't know what happened. Yeah. I'm sure Charlotte Osei was behind that one because she was very interested in the 2016 one.
Yes.
And it's a good thing.
So these are issues of electoral commission, but we'll deal with that.
No, later.
So they are making a recommendation that there should be a national development plan. The national development plan must give the fixed process and plan which all governments must adhere to. And presidents, finance ministers must prepare and submit budgets in line with that national development plan. And so it becomes binding on whoever is elected. Now, the issue here is that the president is vested with executive power in Article 58, which means that all executive power is vested in him or her. And consequently, by subjecting that choice to a National Development Planning Commission, it becomes an issue because now he or she is limited, and it also may not create for accountability. Because if there's an issue, because you say that that's a National Development Planning Commission for a year, my hands are clean, and so that is the debate that is ongoing concerning this.
This is another one that I look at it and I wonder whether they had a sociologist or an anthropologist with them. I mean, how are you saying that a man elected by the whole country, he should come and submit his agenda to some National Development Planning Commission, which is below him? He appoints them. This would have been excellent if it was carried in the transitional provisions of 1992. Because then we didn't have a first president. So if the transitional provisions had said that a National Development Planning Commission should be put up by the transition, that National Development Planning Commission should decide on education, health, military, etc. the decisions that the National Development Planning Commission make will be imposed on subsequent presidents, and they will have to report to Parliament on the level of their implementation. Not on everything. You can say education. So National Development Planning says education will have 2 streams, JSS, SSS, university. Curriculum will be this way. We don't want politicians who have won elections to touch that. That is sacrosanct. And if the politician wants to touch it, he has to go to Parliament to tell Parliament that I want to change this one. Or he also has to go to Parliament anyway to show Parliament his plan for the implementation. So you can limit it to education and health and certain things. But you can't cast a blanket that NDPC, where is the NDPC going to come from? The current NDPC that we have? How are you going to...
No, I mean, a transitional bill so that we would see those fine details.
Well, yeah, maybe, unless that, but you don't have the NDPC we have under the current constitution, which is below the president, and the president goes to... They have a 40-year development plan. He forms into the 40-year development plan. It's okay, it's laudable. There are nice things in it. It must only serve as a recommendation to a president. So that if the president doesn't take the recommendation, it becomes a political question. During the election, we can say, look, NDPC told him to do this, he didn't do it.
I think rather we should set targets. Instead of maybe a specific plan, there should be targets that says that by 30 years of the implementation of these amendments, 90% of Ghanaians should have minimum basic education.
Yes, correct.
90% of Ghanaians should
But
have...
if they don't have, who do you punish?
Then it should be enforceable by the courts.
Court? To punish who?
It will be an interesting thing to say.
The president.
But in any case, it will be subject to, as you said, the ballot box. And the president will have to report on
28 minutes to the top of their... So we'll come back to this, wouldn't we? We'll come back to this in a big way with Lawyer Bafo and other lawyers. And well, any lawyer who is in Parliament who would like to talk about this with us, we're happy to have you. We're going to do a lot more research, so we'll have a lot of research material in there. Okay, so interesting. So that's
the lessons we are...
Yeah, is the documentary ready?
The documentary, I'm sure
it's probably ready. Okay,
ready.
Let's take a short break and then let's come back and look at the document. In America, they say documentary. We'll be right back.
Watch it, not learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwema besisia. Abozing. I can say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey, but I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral?
Say a pessary insecticide GB at a user. Co pharmacy in a shop biamu. Namum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu to a cotonwa. On for Royal Dutch and our Aerofield Trading. Effie spray with Daimwa.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Sametra Sapapadia to a mammy manful. Kale Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so buying, a man is swing, and a sansu mama hotel so a will bedroom.
Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kale Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kale, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
A free hawk, Ubantiasi. Afibia Usika. Nancy Mercedes no ko say boneka na we hu say wa park esi baby na wa tena ye nyina ya kon so ne.
So we have been looking at the conversations, constitutional review. That's what we did on the touchscreen. Thank you very much for staying with us. It's always a pleasure to have you to stay with us. Now, though, we have a documentary for you. Now, what are we talking about in this documentary? In this documentary, we are talking about the pros, cons, ethos, politicization, and the romanticization of a third term for President John Dramani Mahama. People are talking about it. Majority leader, no less a person than the majority leader, has spoken about it. So we put together an 18-minute documentary about what it's all about. Have a look and criticize us if you want, but send us a text on Good Evening Ghana Official. Ansba is waiting to read it when we are done. Have a look at the documentary. Third term for John Dramani Mahama under the 1992 Constitution will involve few important men, and so let's meet them right here at the beginning of our story. We refer to the Honorable Julius Deborah, the current Chief of Staff, who was also Chief of Staff for John Mahama in his first government. Party Chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia, General Secretary Fifi Kwete, Party Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Gbande, H. Kwesi Prempeh of the Constitutional Review Commission, their Lordships Mr. Justice Bafuboni, the Lord Chief Justice, and Mr. Gabriel Puaman, a Justice of the Supreme Court. Now, let's roll out the story. Sometime during the last few days before the election 2024, the inner circle of John Dramani Mahama, including his politically trusted friends and family members, met to discuss the prospect of JM winning the election but being limited to a single 4-year term. It was clear to the group that they would prefer a 2-term agenda for the president. They then decided that they should first win the election and wait to cross that bridge when they get there. After the election was won with a handsome majority and a 2/3 parliamentary majority, the John Mahama inner caucus people sang themselves drowned in optimism that with the MPP so badly damaged and with the internal MPP elections beckoning, the divisions and splits among their opponents in the New Patriotic Party will kill that party, and they might not be able to raise a formidable challenge to the NDC in 2028. But then came the big surprise. The MPP announced that they will suspend the usual trajectory of choosing their leaders to now choose the presidential candidate first as early as 31st January 2026. That gave the NDC some concerns because the MPP will now elect a candidate 3 clear years before the main election, whilst the NDC will have to begin to look for a candidate 2 years to the election. It was at this stage that Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the chairman of the party, decided to indicate his clear ambition and intention to become the leader of the party. He began with a thank you tour going around the country months after the election had been won to thank the NDC faithful for winning. Some people suggested that that was wrong. In fact, one member of the party, Ras Mubarak, came out publicly to denounce Asiedu Nketia's strategy. Thereafter, news trickled in that at a particular NDC National Executive meeting, Mustafa Gbande had indicated that the meeting needed to consider the grassroots members of the party who are thinking that they should start preparing for a JM third term. It is reported that Asiedu Nketia indicated in that meeting that there will be no such discussion about a third term. Johnson Asiedu Nketia is reported to have told the National Executive of the NDC that it was the NDC that brought the constitution to being, and the NDC should not be seen to be undermining that constitution by seeking a third term for John Dramani Mahama. Upon this, the meeting ended, and all information was sent to John Dramani Mahama, the president, who was in Japan at the time.
The president took advantage of being in Japan at the time and actually announced that he was not interested in a third term. With John Dramani Mahame's ambition out of the way, Julius Debra, the chief of staff, then launched a frightening weekend keep fit walk that attracted many influential youth, actors, musicians, young businessmen, and many people from all and sundry. It looked like a great campaign, and Julius was now presenting himself as a real formidable alternative to Johnson Asiedu Nkatiah's ambition of leading the NDC. After that came the finance minister, Kaysel Ato-Forson, who has been keeping the dollar very low and inflation at single digits. Suddenly, Ato-Forson has become a presidential material, and Musa Dankwa's polls show that Ato-Forson is at the top of the pack, together with Idrisu Haruna at a tie, with Johnson Asiedu Nkatiah coming in at a close third. The contest for the NDC leadership did not end there. It doesn't end with Johnson Asiedu Nkatiah, Julius Debra, Kaysel Ato-Forson, and perhaps even Haruna Idrisu. The new kid on the block is the vice president herself, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Idrisu Haruna, the education minister, has been campaigning ferociously for Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman to become the next leader of the NDC.
In fact, it is my prayer that God will give you long life and good health, that probably you will be elevated to become the first female president.
The other day when I said she has my prayers, there were many of you who sought to give it your own interpretation. Professor Jane, I'm reminding them that my mother taught me that sometimes silence is golden because silence cannot be interpreted. But this one, I wanted an interpretation because a vice president, irrebutably, is a presumption that she can assume the high office of president. Irrebutably. Irrebutably.
And this is where the story gets very interesting, because the vice president's candidature is also being put up as an anti-Asiedu Nkatiah ticket. This particular ticket of the vice president is led by the Honorable Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, who was toppled by Asiedu Nkatiah when he, Ofosu, wanted to extend his time as party chairman. Asiedu Nkatiah defeated him in an election and took him out.
For the chairmanship position, 4 people contested. Candidate number 1, Samuel Yao Adusai, 52 votes. Candidate number 2, Johnson Asiedu Nkatiah, 5,569. Candidate number 3, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, 2,892. And candidate number 4, Samuel Ama Ashite, 38. Me Ama Ashite, 38. Johnson Asiedu Nkatiah, duly elected. Thank you very much. God bless all of you.
Ofosu does not want Asiedu Nkatiah to become the leader of the NDC, so he has recruited Alex Segbefia onto that agenda. Now, the foreign minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is also a big part of the VIP's political profile. Samuel Ablakwa is like her son. He was her deputy when they both worked at education under the John Mahama first government, and Sami wants to be the running mate of the vice president quite desperately. For this reason, even though they belong to the same camp of the vice president, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa and Idrisu Haruna have had low-key clashes.
I told you before that Idrisu Haruna, the Minister for Education, and Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, who is an Odadie, are fighting. They are fighting gidi, 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 gidi. And I'm going to tell you why they are fighting tonight. So the Minister for Foreign Affairs in his government is telling the Education Minister that, Chief, that's your ridiculous analysis of short hair and it has a correlation with discipline. I don't even understand it. That's not what you should be focusing on. Focus on why people come from the university that we are training them. They are doing this. You are a new Minister for Education. You have inherited a system. Check why the system produced those people and stop talking about things that are not important. That's the content analysis of the 2 videos. About 4 weeks apart. About 4 weeks apart. That's the content analysis. Ablakwa is fighting with Idrisu Haruna. Idrisu Haruna is fighting with Ablakwa. Ablakwa is fighting with him. My responsibility here, viewers, today is to show you that as a political news reporter, I know why. I know why they are fighting. So I'm going to take you through it. stay with me. Don't go fast. Stay with me. I'm going to show you why they are fighting. It's for a very big price. They are not, they are not fools. They are not fools. They are fighting for a very big price. And they won't be fighting if the price is not big. It's huge. You can see, Saki has put on the screen, the tussle for VP in NDC. That's what they are fighting about. That is the fight. They both of them want to be the next vice president if the NDC were to win 2028. And both of them want to be vice president for the same presidential candidate.
With all this going on, the John Mahama people are thinking that they should perhaps think hard about how to sustain the NDC occupying government beyond 2028. One way they see is to deliver a third term for John Dramani Mahama. That way, the NDC will save itself from the bitter internal contests that may come up. These internal contests are often what becomes the Waterloo of political parties in government. Indeed, since 1988, no ruling party has changed a candidate and won either in America or in Ghana. The last example was former Vice President George Bush Sr., who became president later on by winning the elections in 1988 against Dukakis and secured a third term for the Republican Party. That was the last time that any ruling party was able to secure a third term. So in the year 2000, Al Gore, as a change candidate, failed to win a third term for the Democrats. In Ghana, NDC changed candidates from J.J. Rawlings to Professor Mills and lost the election. Then in 2008, the Republicans changed candidates from George Bush Jr. to Senator McCain, and they lost the election to Barack Obama. In Ghana, the MPP changed candidates from John Kufuor to Akufo-Addo and lost the election. In 2012, John Mahama won the election as a sitting president after Professor Mills had died in July. In 2016, the Democrats changed candidates to Hillary Clinton from Barack Obama and lost the election. Then in 2024, the Democrats changed candidates from Joe Biden to Vice President Kamala Harris and again lost the election. The fear is that changing a candidate after a one-term outgoing former president could cause the NDC a problem, and that may be their Waterloo, nothing to do with the MPP, but the NDC's own internal arrangement of how to present a candidate after John Mahama could be their Waterloo. The question then was, how do they go about this third-term agenda? There are two ways to achieve it. One, by a constitutional review process, which will then go into a referendum. Two, by a Supreme Court interpretation of Article 66(2) of the 1992 Constitution. Right from the outset of his work, H. Kwesi Prempeh said he sees no ambiguity about the Constitution's prescriptions relating to the term limit. He said two-term limit is very straightforward. The other problem about using a constitutional amendment process to bring up the third term is that it could betray the NDC's insatiable thirst for power. Why do we say so? With the referendum process, the NDC and John Mahama will have to campaign for the amendment to allow him to have a third term. That's not how they want to present it. They don't want to present it as if John Mahama wants a third term. They want to present it in this way. John Mahama is not keen, but people are asking him to do a third term because he has performed so well. And then, gradually, John Mahama will accept it. So the referendum way doesn't work because that way the NDC will need to campaign for it and it will be obvious that they are looking for a third term for John Mahama. The next available approach then is the Supreme Court. Already, an independent MP who sits with the NDC has indicated that he will seek an interpretation from the Supreme Court of Article 66(2). But what can the Supreme Court do? Well, Article 66(2) says, a person shall not be president for more than 2 terms. The applicants on this matter about a third term in Article 66(2) will be asking the court to clarify whether the 2-term limit is 2 consecutive terms. If the court were to say, and this is what the JM people are hoping for, that the 2-term limit in Article 66(2), it is 2 consecutive terms only, so that a candidate can do 4 terms non-consecutive, 3 terms non-consecutive. But if you do 2 terms, then consecutively you are out. That way, the door will open for John Dramani Mahama to run for a third term and to be presented by the NDC as his candidate. Mustafa Gbande has reportedly been on radio to talk about JM's third term, and he, Mustafa, seems quite happy with it. News has it that Julius Debra and Ato Forson will both drop their ambitions if their boss truly wants a third term. They will drop their ambitions and support John Dramani Mahama for a third term. Not the same for Johnson Asiedu Nketia, because as the third term conversation was going on, his main man, Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of the NDC, granted an interview to Umaru Sanda of Channel 1 TV, where he said emphatically that there will be no third term for John Dramani Mahama.
We stand behind the president declaring that there will be no third term.
But he added a twist to it. He said that the party are backing John Mahama's statements made in Japan, that he, the president himself, does not want a third term. On his side, H. Kwesi Prempeh has claimed again that there is actually no ambiguity to Article 66(2) in presenting the conclusion of their work as the Constitution Review Committee to the President on Monday. This is what Kwesi Prempeh said.
We couldn't find a place for a third term for the President. So we looked and looked and looked. We couldn't find. I mean, we realized that the President himself doesn't like it. Nobody really seems to like it. There wasn't much of a demand for it at all. The only thing about that was the invitation for us to clarify ambiguity, and we didn't even want to go there. We didn't think that 66(2) raised any issues in terms of ambiguity, so we kept it the way it is.
Whilst the third term supporters may see Kwesi Prempeh's point, they say that he, H. Kwesi Prempeh, is not the Supreme Court. Just about a day or so after the General Secretary's interview, where Fifi Kwete clearly said John Dramani Mahama will not have a third term, the majority leader in Parliament had something else to say. This is what he said.
No, that due to the very, very excellent performance so far of John Dramani Mahama, Ghanaians are asking him to seek a third term. I know that. I know that because I read on social media, I listen to conversations, and Ghanaians believe that as a result of the good deeds of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, they don't want him to leave the presidency.
They believe a third term is possible.
And they believe that a third term is possible. And they are demanding for a third term.
Is that not interesting? So the majority leader and the General Secretary are speaking at cross purposes over the third term ambition of their boss, John Dramani Mahama. Democracy watchers are quite nervous that with so much time and effort spent on removing the former Chief Justice, maybe, just maybe, or maybe not, whether we should be worried about the independence of our Supreme Court or not, opinions are varied on this matter. But to the leader John Mahama himself, I guess he's also feeling the same way when leaders have to exit. It's usually emotional and difficult. Here is Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings saying what looks like his last prayers, exiting himself out of the presidency in the year 2000, 24 years ago. JJ had been off military uniform for 8 years before this event, but on this occasion, he wore the military uniform again. He knew he was going to miss the presidency and the role as Commander-in-Chief.
This event also occurs at a time when the end of my tenure of office as President and Commander-in-Chief is approaching. This stirs in me some deep emotions.
You see how sad JJ was when he was leaving? John Kufuor appeared to have taken it more majestically, even though he too appeared a bit emotional.
Naturally, Mr. Speaker, I had hoped that after my tenure, I would be succeeded by a candidate from my own political tradition. But as things stand and have turned out, the Electoral Commissioner has declared that the electorate of Ghana has decided otherwise.
So John Mahama might want to stay on for a third term, as they say, to finish the job. The MPP's early election has also brought up a new dimension that needs to be observed. Parties don't elect their presidential candidate almost 3 years before the next election. This time, it will be the first time that this has happened. We need to see what bearing that will have on the building of the opposition party and the responses from the NDC. So with the constitutional review recommendations now on the table of the president, presidential term limits excluded, it means the matter can only be resolved by the Supreme Court. Also, who wins the MPP primaries will bring another whole dimension to the conversation. So there will be about 100 new pages written about Ghana's politics and the politics of succession in Ghana ahead of 2008 elections. So much to unravel in politics in the coming year 2026. Also, by the end of 2026, Chief Justice Bafo-Boni will be leaving. If the principle of seniority should be followed by the President, Gabriel Poaman will become the nominee for the next Chief Justice. Interesting days ahead. Hope you like 2025 and hope 2026 will be better. See you next year. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Did you like that? We are eating jollof. Oh. It's Christmas. Look, why don't you film Bello? Bello is eating. You don't want the people to see that Bello is eating. Yeah, it's just me and Bello on the table. We are killing it, man. We are killing it. Alassane Bello is the international relations correspondent. The guy eating the rice, you know. He is also a supporter of the regime in Burkina Faso and all of those places. Ansba, you have the messages from our viewers. What are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Coming from Real Max B, he says, Apostle Paul, let's be truthful to ourselves. Any youth who wants to be president must have distinguished himself in public service. Real Max B also says, this extension of president's immunity from 3 to 4 years is bogus. I think it should be scrapped completely so that the president will be more accountable and take the citizenry serious. A.B. Nanayao says, for proper checks and balances, no MP should be a minister so that our democracy will develop better. A.B. Nanayao says again, interesting discussion from the Constitutional Review report. We shall see what will happen subsequently. Yao February says, very interesting and educative documentary. And lastly, coming from Gastiman, he says, this proposal to extend presidential tenure is a clear political ploy, not a national need. Any attempt to use constitutional amendments, court technicalities, or judicial influence to benefit a sitting president is dangerous and unacceptable. History in our sub-region shows how tenure extensions lead to instability and unrest. Okay, that would be it. Over to you, Paul.
Oh, you're done?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was going to say something about the Shraj boss. I have some information. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it when we come back. So if next week there's no big political story, we will not come. We will celebrate. Next week Tuesday is what, 30th, I think. Yeah, we'll celebrate 30th on Tuesday, TV free. 31st on Wednesday, TV free. 1st on Thursday, TV free. And then next week, we are back on the block. President Mahama promised that as part of the Christmas holidays, he'll be appointing a new defense minister and hopefully an environment minister as well. We're waiting to see what happens. So join us wherever you are by Cyber. It's nice food from Chef Ima. Is the one who made the food for us. At this rate, what shall I say? Nothing more to say. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Have an amazing New Year. Maybe we'll meet before the New Year. Maybe we'll meet during the New Year. Whichever way, thanks for watching. Good night.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah.
Praise God.